Yes, check, check. Hi Surya, welcome to the call. All right. We're gonna wait for the others to join in. 3 more to join in. Let me follow up on the group. All right. Hi Surya. Good morning. It must be
Hi, sir.
really early for you, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so I saw your dumbbell. Have you created other things?
No, sir, I didn't have time.
You didn't have time. All right. Okay. Hi Niku. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So for today, we're going to wait for the rest, okay? But in the meanwhile, I want you to have your ice cream file open and ready. So do you have your ice cream file that we created that day? Yeah, Niku, you got it? And Surya, I hope you have it. If you don't, you can just quickly build it right now. Yeah? It's super simple. Remember, just a cone, two icospheres, and one UV sphere, and one rectangle. So right now, even Yuvin doesn't have the file, so he was making it. So you guys can make it. Niket, you can open your file and keep. Yeah, because today we're going to work on that. All right, and today we're going to do some really exciting stuff. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay. Yeah, someone's in. All right, Kavish is here. Hi, Kavish. Welcome to the call. Good morning. All right, you're right in time. It's 10:30. Who is missing now? Veer. Veer and someone else is 1, 2, 3, 4. Oopsie. Yuvin is here. Just a second. Let me just check. I need to keep an attendance sheet here. Ha, Inay is missing. Okay, Veer and Inay. Veer and Inay, please join the call. All right, guys. So, Kavish, I saw all your stuff. Okay, good job, Niku and Kavish and Yuvin and even Surya. Okay, good job. I can see that you have, tried, moved around. So you did the practice, right? And now you're pretty comfortable with moving things around, scaling them, right? So, so you're comfortable with adding objects using the mesh menu, correct? You are also comfortable with navigating, moving around in the Blender workspace, right? And you're also comfortable with basic transformations. So what are transformations, right? Transformations are what you have, when you scale an object on the x-axis, or you rotate an object, or you move it, right? So scale, move, and rotate, these are the basic transformations, right? These are called transformations because you're transforming the object, right? You're changing its position, you're changing something about the object. Hi Ene, welcome to the call. Good morning.
One second, I'm just getting.
Yes, you are a minute late. All right, we've been waiting for you.
Sorry,
Okay,
sorry.
I think Veer is missing now. We'll begin. Let him join. All right. Okay, so as I was saying, all of you have done the exercise, done the homework really good. Okay, awesome. I've seen your work. Hi, Ene, I can see you. Good morning. All right. So now we are all here. Yes, Yuvin, you have a question? I can't hear you,
Sir,
Yuvin.
I'm done with the ice cream.
Good job. Keep it open. All right. So I'm going to give you, so guys, so today we have before that, okay, welcome to session number 2 of the Blender Kids workshop. All right. And today we have a really exciting session, planned. Okay. You're going to do something really exciting today. Okay. Let me give you a hint. You're going to learn how to color your models. Okay, right now you've learned how to model things. Today we're going to learn how to color it, right? And add some color to what you're going to what you've already created. So for that, all of you, I want to have your ice cream file open on your computer. All right. So can you open your ice cream file? All of you, okay? And keep that open. And I'm going to start the session and tell you about let's begin. All right. Okay. So as I was saying, All of you have done the homework, okay? Really good. We will take a look at your work at the end of the session, okay? If we have a little time. So we'll just, I'll just give you some feedback and take you through it, right? But I can see all of you have done the homework on the day of the session, which is perfect because when in the session you learn things and then you immediately apply it, right? And that is where you will learn and that's where you will explore and everything will settle in your mind, right? And so now I can see all of you are comfortable with moving in Blender, adding objects and doing basic transformations. What are basic transformations? Scaling, rotating, moving. These are called basic transformations. Why are they called basic transformations? Because you are transforming the object, right? You're changing the object in some way, right? And scale, rotate and position are the most basic properties of an object inside a 3D software, right? So you are now very comfortable with basic transformations. Now we are going to take it to the next level. We are going to learn some more things. All right, perfect. So I'm going to share my screen, okay? And let me just share my screen. 1 second. I have my Blender open and I'm going to share my screen. Share. All right, someone has joined or yeah, Kavish, you have a question?
Yeah, so basically, I deleted the file which was in Blender, but I have the viewport one. So how do I go back to Blender?
You have the viewport as in you have the exported image of your ice cream?
Yeah, but I don't have it in Blender.
Ah, that's the trouble. So
Me
quickly
too.
just build it. Yeah. So one sec. You need to have it inside Blender because we are going to learn how to color the ice cream today.
Yeah, I
Right?
don't have it inside Blender. I have it exported.
Oh, okay. So here's your test. Okay. Quickly build it. Let's see how quickly you can do it. Right? It's just a cone, two icospheres, one UV sphere, and one wafer on top. Right? So go ahead and build it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Yes, Niket, you had a question?
I also had the same problem, but I'm now rebuilding.
Rebuilding? Okay, okay. So rebuild it quickly. Okay, I should have told you before all of you guys, but actually so now what you need to do is whenever you build a file or anything you're building, right? Save the file. Okay, we want to access all our files, right? And make this as a habit, okay? Save it and I'll also show you how to save versions. Okay? Yes, Inay?
Sir, when I was building the blocky snowman,
Uh-huh.
some weird glitch happened.
Okay.
Like I pressed the move button, but only a part of it was moving. The other part was not moving.
Ah, okay. I will have to probably see this. Okay. So we'll look at this. We'll look at this at the end of the session. Any questions you have, any doubts you have. So we'll also look at your homework. Okay, at the end of the session because I want to cover some things right now. So we'll look at it at the end of the session and any trouble that you're having, we'll resolve it. All right. Okay, cool. Okay, you have your ice cream in it.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so while Niket and I think Surya, you are also making your ice cream, right? Yeah. So while Niket,
Yes, sir.
Surya and Kavish are making the ice cream, okay, you make it, but I'll be talking about the concepts, okay? So as you're making it, I'll just talk and you tell me when you're ready, okay? So, so all 3D softwares, okay? All 3D softwares, Blender included, there are many 3D softwares, okay? Blender is just one. There are many different 3D softwares available, right? Like I'll give you some names like Maya and 3D Studio Max. These are other 3D applications, right? And all of them are kind of the same. It's just a different name of the software, but they all work on the same kind of principles and fundamentals, right? And so what does a 3D software actually do? So a 3D software, it actually emulates reality. It tries to emulate the real world. You know what I mean by emulate? It tries to recreate the real world, right? And that's why, when you see your 3D movies and animations, it looks so real, right? Some of the movies look so real. There are, and those are called photorealistic because you can't tell the difference, right? And that is possible because 3D applications are created to mimic or emulate or recreate, right, the real world. And so every aspect of 3D softwares is built that way, right? Now, in the first session, you have learned how to model. You've started learning the basics of modeling. Modeling is the first step. Oh, okay, welcome. Here's my son Avish. He wanted to meet you guys, and that's my daughter Anika. There you go. So Avish wanted to meet all of you, especially Kavish and Niket. Okay, say something. No? Okay. All right. So where was I? So as I was saying, in the first session, okay, you learned how to model, right? Modeling is the first step in any 3D creation because you need to create something, right? You need to create a model, right? So when you create the model will always be grain color, okay? Because you haven't put any colors or anything on it. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the steps. So first, modeling comes, okay, in 3D. You first build something. Then the second step is actually coloring it. Now in 3D, it's called texturing, right? The coloring stage is also called texturing, okay? After texturing, okay, after you color your models, then comes something called rigging. If you are going to animate your objects, if you are going to move them and animate them, there is a process called rigging, okay? After rigging comes the actual animation procedure where you animate, okay? Then there is something called lighting, where, you know, right now you can see, we'll talk about it, but there's a step called lighting. And then finally there's something called rendering, where you are exporting your image. One second. Guys, please go outside. Please go outside. Take this and go outside. Abhi, please go outside. It's disturbing me. Please go right now. All right. Do you guys have your ice cream ready? Who doesn't have?
Almost done. I'm on
Almost
the.
done.
Surya and Kavish. Okay, keep doing it. Okay, as I'm explaining. Okay, as I'm explaining, you keep doing it. All right. So broadly, we'll get into these steps. Okay, we'll get into these steps. But broadly speaking, there's modeling, then there's coloring, which is texturing. Then there's something called rigging. Then after rigging, there's something called, you know, rigging may or may not be there depending on whether you want to animate. But definitely there's something called lighting, where you have to light your scene. And then there is something called rendering, where you are exporting your final images, right, that look really good, right? So the rendering process is your final image, okay, inside Blender. So these are the stages. So essentially, all of these stages can be done inside Blender, right? And to do these inside Blender, there is something called workspaces. Okay, inside Blender there are different workspaces. Now what these workspaces are, it's essentially the same software. It's just that when you change a workspace, the tools for that specific task become more accessible in your viewport. Okay, so I'll show you that, I'll demonstrate that, but first I want your ice creams to be complete. So is your ice cream complete? Yeah, I know Niket and Yuvin and Inay have it ready. I'm just asking Kavish and Surya. Because once your ice cream is ready, then I need your attention on my screen, right?
Almost, sir.
Almost there? All right. Okay, I hope you've heard my my explanation. Okay, if you have any doubts, let me know. Okay, I'm available to answer all those questions. Also, from this session onwards, okay, after the session, you will receive a recap video, okay, of everything that we covered in this session. So in case you missed anything, or in case you know something was not clear, you can just watch the recap video and everything is there in the recap video. All right. So starting this session, from second session, all sessions will have a recap video. All right. Which I'll send you as soon as the session is done.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, Kavish, good job. Surya, are you done?
Yes, sir, I'm done.
Perfect. All right. Okay. Good job. Okay, so everyone has your ice cream scene ready. Okay, it should look something like this in my screen. Can you see? You have your ice cream. Okay, so now everyone, now I want to give you a little instruction also. Okay, so now how things are going to go forward. Okay, I will demonstrate something. Okay, I have the same ice cream that you have. Okay, so we have the same file. I will demonstrate some part. Okay, you have to watch closely. No tinkering around when I'm demonstrating. No pressing anything in your blender. No doing anything in your blender. Your eyes have to be on my screen. Okay. When I say I'm demonstrating now, all eyes on my screen. Once I'm done demonstrating, I will tell you, okay, now catch up. Okay, that means when I say catch up, all of you have to do whatever I have demonstrated and catch up to where I am. All right, is that clear? Right? Clear, right? So I will demonstrate, all eyes on my screen. You have to watch very closely because you can see all the buttons are really small, right? So you want to be very sure of watching my screen. I am going to actually just increase the size of things here so you can see them more clearly. One second. I'm just going to do that. Edit, preferences, viewport, and size. Sorry, one sec. Interface. There you go. So my button sizes are increasing. Can you see? Yeah. So that's more clear for you guys. Okay. So let me 1.3. Okay, cool. All right. And okay, so all of us, you have a file like this. Okay, this is what your scene should look like, and you have your ice cream. Your ice cream is made up of a cone. So when you select your cone, only the cone gets selected. Okay, when you select one icosphere, only that icosphere gets selected. When so what I mean by that is that each object is separate. And how do I know that? If you bring your attention to the outliner, which you now know is just a list of all the objects in your scene, you can see that every aspect of my ice cream is separate. So you can see I have a cone, I have a cube, I have two icospheres, and I have a sphere. Correct? Everyone with me so far? Perfect. Just one thing I want you to check in your file. Do you have all these separate objects? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you have 5 separate objects? Yes? Give me a confirmation, everyone. Surya, Inay. Perfect. Good job. Good job. Classic. Okay, that's great. Okay, so now we can move really fast. All right. So now all eyes on my screen. Okay. So now I was talking about workspaces. So like I said, in Blender, you can do a whole lot of different tasks. And to do these different tasks, you need different tools, right? And these different tools are available in Blender, but it's easy to access them in the specific workspaces. So Blender knows that there are these different types of tasks. So they have created workspaces that you can easily select, and when you select those workspaces, your interface changes and the tools for that kind of work appear. Okay, so let me bring your attention to this top bar. So when you look up here, can you see File, Edit, Render, Window, Help? You can see all of that. So these are the main tabs. But next to that, after Help, you can see a whole other bunch of tabs. Layout, Modeling, Sculpting, UV Editing, Texture Paint, Shading, Animation, Rendering, Compositing, Geometry Nodes, Scripting, and then there's a plus sign because there you can add more. All these are workspaces. Okay, and they work like tabs. So right now you can see that the layout is kind of highlighted, right? There's a small box around layout. That tells me that I am right now in the layout workspace. So the layout workspace is the default workspace. In the layout workspace, you get the viewport, you get the outliner, you get the properties panel, and you get the timeline. Okay, and now this is the most default workspace, and this is what we are all used to, and typically I work most of the time in this workspace, right? But there are some more workspaces. So let's look at the next workspace, modeling. When I click on it, as soon as I click on it, you can see that the workspace has changed, because in modeling what you need are modeling tools. So you can see all the tools have appeared here on the left side, and while modeling you don't need a timeline. So the timeline has disappeared, right? Okay, nothing has changed about my object. The object is the same, okay, but we are in modeling. Okay, now I will tell you when we should go into the modeling mode. Right now, you did your modeling in layout mode, right? And that's fine. Okay, I will indicate when you should go into the modeling mode. Okay, so for right now, whenever you're building something, stay in the layout mode. Okay, we'll get to the modeling mode, but I'm just showing you the different workspaces. Okay, now next to modeling, there's something called sculpting. Okay, so if I click on sculpting, Boom. You can see your whole workspace has changed again. The model remains the same, your ice cream is there, but you can see your tools have changed. And down here, a whole bunch of other tools have come, right? And these tools are specific to sculpting. Now, sculpting is a really interesting topic. Okay, it is like modeling, but it's actually like, like clay modeling. Like, you know how you take clay with your hand and you start building with clay? You can actually do that in Blender, right? With models, right? And it's amazing. We'll get to that, right? That's a little more advanced. You need to learn modeling first, and then we'll get to sculpting, right? Sculpting is really amazing. You can do a lot of things. It's amazing. Okay, so that's sculpting. So I'm just showing you the workspaces, so you can get a sense of how Blender remains the same, okay, but the tools changes. So these are just workspaces. You can imagine workspaces like desks. In your if you go to a studio, there are different desks for working. There's one desk for one task, another desk for another task, and those tools are available on those desks. Like that, when you change your workspace, you're changing your desk, right? So you're changing the tool, so it's easily accessible. So right now when I'm in sculpting mode, I have all my sculpting tools available, right? Easily. So let's look at the next one, UV editing. Here we go. So here we have now 2 panels. This is for UV editing. Now UV editing is a little more, it's another level of texturing. Okay, we'll get into that. Okay, it's another level of texturing. It helps you color your objects. Okay, then we have something called texture painting, right? Texture painting again is texturing, but it's a process where you actually paint on your model. Okay, it's a very fun thing. Again, we'll get to that. Okay, like I said, 3D applications have a lot of things, okay, and you can get interested in anything and explore in that, right? And in the Blender Kids workshop, we are going to touch upon most of it, right? We're going to try and touch upon most of it, okay? And of course, this is level 1. In level 2, we'll get into deeper other things as well. So right now, you're participating in the level 1 workshop, right? So I'm going to try and get you exposed to all of it, right? Okay, so I'm going to move on to shading. All right. So today, interestingly, we are going to be working in this workspace. Okay, it looks very different, right? It doesn't look anything like your modeling or your layout workspace. So I'll come back to this, but today we're going to be working in the shading workspace. Okay. After that, we have the animation workspace, and here you can see the animation workspace. You have one kind of preview, and down here you have your timeline. Okay, and then you have rendering, compositing, geometry nodes, and scripting. Okay, scripting is where you can actually put script, right? So Blender works on a script language called Python, and if you learn Python, you can actually script inside Blender and do all kinds of fun things. But yes, Kavish.
To do scripting, don't you actually need to learn syntax?
Yes, so syntax is just grammar, right? Syntax is the grammar of a language. You need to learn a specific language. So the language that Blender works with is called Python, right? And Python is a very useful language. It's used everywhere in many, many different applications. And if you learn Python, you can really control Blender in ways that a normal user cannot, right?
So JavaScript and Python are the same basically.
No, JavaScript and Python are different, right? But if you learn one, then you can learn the other. It's easy to learn. JavaScript is different, okay? Python is different. And you can get to that, but if you're interested in coding, okay, definitely you can learn to code, right? And but things, right now like AI and all are coming, so it's getting a lot easier to learn to code. You don't really need to code everything. But what's most important is understanding, right? Understanding the fundamentals of how an application works, how how these things are put together, and that's when you can code, right? So what we are focusing on is the fundamentals of understanding how these things are put together. All right, okay. So learning to code is great. Okay, you should, if you're interested in coding, you should definitely do it. All right, and Python is a great language to learn as well. Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to jump back to my layout. So all eyes on my screen. Okay, I'm going to jump back to my layout. Okay, now in the layout view, okay, let's talk about a little about coloring. Okay, so like I said, colors. Okay, colors in 3D applications is not just you're coloring your object. It's called texturing. And you know why it's called texturing? Okay, and it's sometimes you might hear some people call it shading or materials, right? Now materials is a more accurate term. okay, for what we do in 3D. When we are putting colors, we are actually putting materials. Why? Okay, why is it called a material? Because remember I said 3D applications try to mimic the real world. They try to recreate the real world. And in the real world, objects don't have just colors. Objects have textures, they have materials, like they feel a certain way. They look metallic, or they look rough, or they look smooth, or they look reflective, right? There are different properties. They don't just have a color, right? Like for example, if you look at my cup here, okay? But just by looking at this cup, you can say that it's a little shiny. You get a sense that it's shiny, so that means if it's shiny, you know that it's not rough, right? Just by looking at it, you understand that, oh, if something is shiny, it's not rough. The surface will be smooth, right? So the material of this object is smooth. Just a second, someone has come at the door. I need to take this. Just hold on, guys. Okay. Okay guys, sorry, I'm back. Alright, so as I was saying, when you look at this cup, okay, you can see that it's reflective. You can also, as soon as you see the reflection, you can say, oh, it's smooth, it's not rough, right? And you also know that it's hard, right? So our eyes have gotten used to looking at the real world, and we can look at objects and say, oh, that's rough, that's smooth, that's metallic, right? Let me show you some other object here, okay? Yeah. So as soon as you see this kind of a glass, now you can see it's really reflective, right? You can almost see like a mirror, right? Like if I bring this close, you can see my camera, right? And so you know immediately that this is a metallic object, right? And its material is so shiny, right? And so in the real world, objects just don't have color. They have other properties as well, right? They have roughness, they have reflectivity and all of that. And so inside 3D applications, they have created something called materials that can mimic all these properties, okay? And it's really fascinating, okay? And you can actually begin to do those things. So first, let's learn to add a material, okay? So now I'm demonstrating. After this, I'm going to ask you to catch up, all right? So let's look at, so we have our object here, okay? And this is our layout mode. So to begin our coloring process, we are going to jump into our shading workflow or the shading workspace. So I'm going to come ahead here and click on the shading. Now, as soon as I click on shading, you can see things have changed, right? Things have changed in my viewport. My object looks different. It looks white in color, okay? And my background has some kind of tree or something. You can see there's a sky maybe, or, you know, there's some kind of, some kind of a background is there, right? That comes by default automatically, okay? On the left side, you can see there is like a media browser, okay, where you can see your folders, okay? And here there is something called, your texture map. Now we're not going to look at this today, this or this, we don't need this, okay? Here we have the shader editor, okay? So this panel here is called the shader editor. Now, if you want to know the name of your current panel, all you have to do is go, and every panel has this little box in the corner, right? So when you click that arrow, it gives you a menu of various panels, and here you can see my shader editor is highlighted, right? So when I look at that, I can say, oh, this panel is called the shader editor. Let me demonstrate that with another panel. So here in the outliner, again, you can see in the top left corner, there's a small box with an arrow. If I click on that, again, the same menu appears, the same exact menu, but here you can see the outliner is highlighted. So now I know that this panel is the outliner. Let me demonstrate that with the properties panel. So here we have the properties panel. I click on this tiny box again, the same menu appears, and here you can see the properties is highlighted. So this menu is the same. And you know what? The great thing is any panel can become any other panel. So if I click on this and I say, okay, I want this to be a shader editor, there you go. I have 2 shader editors, right? And so this is very unique to Blender. So you can, make your own workspaces also, right? Depending on what tools you want to use, what you're doing. So I'm going to change this back to my properties panel. There you go. Okay. So here is your shader editor. Okay. And in the shader all our materials will appear. Okay. Now pay close attention. Okay. In the viewport, okay, your object has changed. It's become white in color. Also, if you look closely, you can see that some shadow has come. Can you see that? This sphere, if I move this sphere, GZ, you see, it's casting a shadow. Now, when does a shadow come? Can someone answer? Yes. Yes, Kavish.
A shadow appears when an opaque object is in front of a source light.
Yes. The key thing is the light. Yes, Inay, you want to say? Yes, Inay, say.
I was gonna say the same thing.
All right. And all right. So, Yuvan, I think you're also saying the same thing, right? So, a shadow appears when a light source is there. If there is no light source, there is no shadow. And here, there is a light source, right? And see, this is what I mean by 3D softwares are mimicking, recreating the real world, right? They are trying to recreate the real world. So, here, you can say that the light is coming from here, from this kind of an space. It's coming here, that's why the shadow is being cast on this object here. And when I move the object, you can see that the light is coming from this side, right? And so, where is this light coming from? Okay, so just to give you, an idea, in the shader workspace, okay, to put your material, you need a light source, right? Without a light source, you cannot see your material. Like for example, if you have this object in a dark room, in a pitch black room, will you be able to see this object? You will not be able to see it. You will not be able to see any of the reflections, nothing. To see the material, light is required, right? And so, in my file, right now, if I look at my outliner, there is no light. There are only objects. I have not added a light. Now you can add a light, we'll get to the lighting part, right? But right now, I only have my ice cream object, right? And so there is no light. And so when you go into your shading workspace, Blender automatically gives you some light. And that light is actually being cast by this image that you see in the background. This image is referred to as, it's a little complicated this part, we're not going to get into it too much, but this image is called an HDRI. Okay, it's actually a panoramic image that you can see here in the shiny ball. You see the shiny ball? Okay, this shiny ball, you can see some trees and something like that. So they actually go and take a photograph of an environment that is a 360 photograph, and they put that inside Blender, right? And you can change these images. You get different types of images of sunset, sunrise, forest, desert, all different kind of lighting environments, right? And they map that and put that in. So it's called an HDRI. It's simple to use, kind of complicated to understand, right? But we'll get to that. So right now what you need to understand is that right now in the shader, in the shading workspace, Blender gives you a default HDRI which casts a nice light. And that light, inside that light you can see your object. And when you see your object as white, you know that there is no material on it. Any object that is white in your shader editor, okay, means that there is no material on it. And this is the default material, that white kind of model. Okay, clear everyone? All right. So now let's go ahead and begin to put a material on this. Okay, so how do we put a material? In the shader editor, down here, you can see that there is nothing in the shader editor. Okay, and there is a tab here called new. Okay, and there's a plus sign. All I have to do is select our object. So what I'm going to do is I'm selecting my cone. So I've clicked my cone has an orange outline, and in my outliner the cone is selected. Okay, and I'm just going to hit new. Boom. As soon as I hit new, you can see something has appeared in my shader editor. Okay, And I can actually zoom out using my scroll wheel on my mouse. So I'm zooming out. Can you see that? And I can also pan, okay, in this view by holding down control and shift, right? So I'm holding shift. One second, why is my screencast keys not on? Yeah, it's on. Okay. So I'm holding down shift right now and I'm pressing my scroll mouse. Okay, I'm holding my scroll mouse down and holding down shift. Okay, this way I can move around in this workspace in this shader editor, and I can zoom in using the scroll wheel. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to experiment with this. Okay, but before that, let me just show you what this is. So here you can see something has appeared, and it's called, I'm going to increase the size of this. Okay, and here you can see principled BSDF. Okay, now this is one box and this is another box. You know what these boxes are called? These boxes are called nodes, right? And so Blender is actually a node based application. You can use nodes to do a whole lot of things. Okay, now I know this is the first time you're hearing what nodes are, and as we move forward you will get a clear understanding. It's very easy to use. Okay, very easy to use nodes. It's just that you have to begin to understand it, right? So right now shading in Blender uses nodes. So right now here we have something called the material output node. Okay, so anything that's connected to the output node will show as your final output. Okay, and right now, so look at this. Okay, the principal BSDF has a bunch of properties. So this is actually a material. Okay, and you can change its properties, and it has all kinds of properties, like you can see roughness, metallic. Okay, it has things like transmission, specular is for reflection, transmission is for translucence, you know, like a translucent or a transparent object, right? So we'll get into all those things. Okay, but for now I want to bring your attention to base color. Okay, so you can see base color is white. When I click on this base color, it gives you a color wheel. Okay, and in this color wheel you can see a small circle. If I click anywhere, you can see that the color has changed, and you can also see in the workspace, in the viewport, my cone has become green now, and I can change this color. I can change this to brown, I can change this to blue, right? I can change this to red. Okay, and just by moving around in this color wheel I can get any color I want, right? Also what I can do is I can bring it to any color, and on the right side you can see this black to white scroll bar. And so if I bring this down, this changes the lightness and darkness of your color. So if I want a very bright color, I can just have, push it all the way. And if I want a very dark color, I can push it here. So see, you can change the darkness and lightness, and you can change the color. You see this? Right? So this is super fun. You can change the color. Okay. And as you're changing the color, you can see the values here are changing. Right? So you can also change it from here. So hue means the hue of the color, the color itself. Right? Saturation means how much of the color. So you can see it's becoming really green as I'm increasing it. So I'm clicking and dragging. And if I'm clicking and dragging down, it becomes less and less green. It becomes like a pale green as I go down. And the value is the intensity, how bright it is or how dark it is, right? Yes, Kavish.
Okay, so I have a question here.
Yes.
Suppose for the color wheel, we're not able to find a particular color we want, though it is there. So is there any way we can type the color?
The hex code.
I don't know, type, suppose I want a peach color. And I'm not able to find peach. So can you type anywhere so that you can get peach?
Oh, well, you can't type peach color per se. Okay. You can add something called a hex code. So in computers, every color possible has something called a hex code. The hex code, you can see down here, has these kind of values, right? So I will show you how to get a hex code, but you can't come in here and type peach. It will not give you peach. See, it just went to 000, right? So you cannot say peach color. You will have to find the color in some way. I will show you a method of picking a color from somewhere else, right? But we'll get into that later. Right now, but it's a good thing for you to play around with these values so you can find the color that you like, right? So if you want a peach color, you'll have to kind of create it, right? So I would recommend playing around with these values to find the color that you like first. Get used to that. Then of course you can always pick colors and get their hex codes. All right? Okay, Kavish? Yes, Inay. Yes, Inay. You have a question? Sorry?
Can I go to the washroom?
Yes. Go ahead. Run and come. Okay, in the meanwhile, I'll also get a glass of water for myself. Just a second. Anyone else want to go to the washroom? Go ahead and come back, all right? Okay, while everyone is in the washroom, this is one more thing I want to actually tell you guys about, okay? Whenever you work on your computer, right? Now, you're learning Blender, you're going to have fun, you'll spend a lot of time on Blender, right? You got to remember to not work for very long time, right? Every 15 to 20 minutes, you should get up and you should stretch, right? So all of you get up right now and stretch. Stand up and just stretch your hands up. Yeah, stretch, okay, and you can do a little stretches, right? Okay, you gotta get because sitting for so long is not good, all right? And I know you will enjoy doing Blender and you'll just sit for hours, but you gotta remember to not sit for so long, okay? You need to use Blender in short spurts, right? Use it for 20 minutes, take a small break, then use it for another 20 minutes, and then break it, go play, do something physical, all right? Because sitting in front of the computer for a long time is not good for you, right? Not good for anyone, all right? So make it a habit, all right? Make it a habit to, you might enjoy it and you might get lost and, not keep track of time, but you should remember to keep getting up, stretching, right? And, looking away from your screen as well, right? You should look away from the screen for some time, right? Okay, keep that in mind, and I will also build that into our sessions, right? Every 20 minutes we'll take a tiny little break. Okay, so it's already 11:10. We only have another 20 minutes. Okay, so we're going to move fast. Now I'm going to give you a chance to catch up. Okay, but I wanted to say a couple of things before that. So I'm going to wait for Inay to get here. Yeah. Actually, in the meanwhile, you guys can try and catch up, okay, till he comes back. So try and catch up. Select the object. First, go to your shader editor, okay, shading view workspace. Select one of the objects and hit new in the shader editor. Create a material and change the color. Are you guys able to do it? Good job. Got a color? Okay, so while we wait for Inay, let's go ahead and add more colors, okay? So I'm going to click on the, so now when you click on the other object, okay, on the ice cream, you'll notice that there is nothing in the shader editor, right? If I click on the cone again, that appears. So now you know that your shader editor is specific to your object. It changes with every object, right? Okay, so now again I have to do that. I clicked on this ice cream and I create a new, a new color, and I want to make it like a strawberry ice cream. So, I'm gonna keep it like that, something like that, right? So now I have a strawberry ice cream. Okay, so go ahead and do that for the two scoops. Okay, so I'm gonna create the other scoop like a chocolate ice cream. Or yeah,
I'm done.
You're
My
done?
whole ice cream.
You're
Yeah.
done with all your pieces? Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Can
Okay.
you check it once?
Yeah, 1 second. I will check it. Let me just.
I almost did the same thing as you did.
Yeah? Okay. I think I want to go a little chocolatey. Where is my chocolate color? Chocolate is like this? Yeah. And then we go darker. And see, when you play around with these colors now, you'll understand that to get the kind of color you want, you're gonna have to play around a bit, right? And that's a good learning. Okay, now the cherry is going to be red, so I'm going to click on the cherry and make it red. Oopsie, there you go. And the waffle. Now the waffle, I want to show you something. Okay, Ine, you're back. Okay, Ine, just quickly catch up to where I am, right? So add different colors, right? Can you turn on your mic?
Sir, I did that, but when I was doing it for the cone, the the principal BSDF went somewhere else, and I'm trying to get it back.
You're trying to get it back.
Yeah.
1 second, huh?
Like I can't see.
You can't see it, so you've zoomed in or zoomed out. So just use your scroll on your mouse to like zoom out. Okay, just give me your AnyDesk. I'll just take control and show you. Okay.
Should I just share screen? It might be easier, no?
Okay, you want to share screen? Okay, 1 second. I'm stopping to share my screen. Yeah, go ahead. Share your screen. Yeah, so there you go. There you have your principal BSDF.
This is for my one of my scoops.
Yeah, that's perfect. So now see, so now on your, okay. So now bring your mouse to the shader editor. Okay. No, yeah, you are in the shader editor. Bring it somewhere in the middle of the shader editor. Yeah. Now use your scroll on your this thing to zoom in. Just zoom in.
My mom.
Yeah,
You don't have a scroll on it?
You can use that one.
You are scrolling right now in the viewport. You want to scroll in the shader editor. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Look at material 001. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a cross sign on the right. Yeah, just click on that. Yeah, and so that's deleted whatever material was there, right? Now press new again. There you go. Okay, so now you have your, so you know what essentially happened the first time you had a material, but you kind of zoomed away from it. And so you have to, I don't know how to do it with your Mac mouse. You'll have to figure that out, right? But this is one way to do it, just delete the material. Okay, and now you can select your color. All right, so you can stop sharing now. I'll share my screen. Okay, so you basically got the colors. Okay, you figured that out. Okay, okay, cool. So everyone has some colors and okay, so everyone's got this part. Very good. Okay, I am sharing my screen and everyone can see my screen. Okay, all right. So now what we've done is, okay, all of you have selected the different objects, okay, and we have added new colors, right? So you can see when I select one object, I have this color, brown color, and you can see in my material, it's just called material, okay. Then when I select my ice cream scoop, it's called material 001. So Blender has made a new material and named it something, okay. Then the chocolate ice cream, it's material 002, okay. Then my cherry color, which is red, is material 003, right. So that tells me that Blender is creating these different materials, okay. Now the way that materials work in Blender, okay, it's like a paint bucket. Okay, now we have made 3 different paint buckets. I have one material 3, material 1, material 2 and just material. All of these are different paint buckets, right? And I can use the same paint buckets for different objects. I don't need to keep making different paint buckets, especially when I want to color multiple objects with one color. Okay, so let me show you. For example, this wafer up here, okay, right now it has no material. This wafer is the same color as the cone, correct? Generally, your wafer is made of the same material, right? So I want to apply that same color. I don't want to add a new color, okay? So with my wafer selected, next to new, you can see this icon, right? This icon is the icon that represents material, okay? It's the material icon. And if you look at that, next to that, there is a tiny little arrow. If you click on that, there you go. You can see all the materials you've made, right? I have my brown material for the wafer, material for the ice cream, the chocolate material and the cherry material, right? They're all listed here. So now if I want to just add the wafer material, all I have to do is just click on material. Boom. There you go. So I have applied the same material. Okay. So I'm referencing, this is called referencing. I'm referencing the same material. So now what's happened is that that same material is applied to 2 objects. And you can see here, okay, you can see that the material, there is a number 2 next to it. This tells me that 2 objects have this same material. Now look at this, okay, if I go to my cherry, material 3, there is no number next to it. That tells me that this is uniquely only on one object. Right? If I go to my chocolate, again, there is no number. But if I click on my cone, it shows me the material and it shows me this number 2. This number 2 tells me that this material is applied to 2 different objects. It won't tell you which objects, but it just tells you, okay, this material is on 2 objects. You know why that's important? Because if I come in here and I change the color, there you go. You can see both objects have changed color. And that's why this material is like a paint bucket, right? If you change the color of your paint bucket, whatever object has that color will also change. And so this is a super easy way to change colors of multiple objects. Everyone with me so far? Thumbs up? Everyone with me? Everyone with me? All right. So what I want you to do, okay, I want you to catch up. How will you catch up? Okay, one second. Let me change this back to a wafer kind of color. How will you catch up? If you have already colored your wafer, okay, I want you to delete that color by going and pressing the cross on it, okay. So you delete that color and then come in here and put your wafer color on it, okay, wafer which is your cone color. So go ahead and catch up.
I'm done.
All right. You guys are a bunch of quick boys. All right. All right. Just show me a thumbs up. Wonderful. Awesome. You win, just you. Are you done? Yeah, sure. Take your time. No problem. No hurry. All right. Anywhere you get stuck, let me know. Okay. So this is one way of adding the same color. Okay. Another quick way. Okay. I'm going to demonstrate again. Okay. So perfect. You win. Okay. So this way, what we did, I'm just going to demonstrate. Okay. What we did is we kind of selected the object that we want to color. Then we went down into our material browser and we looked at all the materials and then we found the material we want and we clicked on that. Okay. Now sometimes what happens is that you are working in a big file and you have many materials. You can have thousands of materials, by the way, right? You can have thousands of materials. So you will be scrolling down in this. This becomes a scroll bar and you will be scrolling and trying to look for that material. So that becomes tedious sometimes. So what is the easy way to do this? Okay, I'll show you an easy keyboard shortcut. Okay, and also remember, from now on, I'm going to show you keyboard shortcuts. Blender uses a lot of keyboard shortcuts and it's a fast way to work in Blender. Okay, when you learn keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you a keyboard shortcut. So how do I add this color, the cone color, on the wafer. Okay, the easy way to do it is, okay, I am going to select the object that I want to color. Okay, I'm going to hold down Control on my keyboard. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the object whose color I want. Okay, so I am clicking, sorry, it's not Control, it's Shift. Okay, so you click the object, you hold down Shift and you click on the object jiska color you want. Okay, so I click that. Now notice the object that you selected first has a reddish outline. Okay, and the object that you have selected last has an orange outline. Okay, so this tells me that this tells me that this is the active object, right? The orange, the yellowish orange outline, and the reddish outline tells me that this is the passive one. That means this is going to get whatever property I'm going to apply. Okay, so you need to select the object that you want to color first, hold down Shift on your keyboard, okay, and then click the object that whose color you want. All right, and so when I've done that, now all you have to do is you can let go of Shift, okay, and the objects will still be selected, and then just hit Control L. So you hold down Control and you press L. Okay, so Control L is short form for link, and so then you can see your link menu shows up, link transfer data, and a whole lot of things you can link. In that, all you want to do is click on link materials. Okay, when you click on link materials, boom, there you go. Here you can see my wafer now has material, right? Okay, so catch up now. Your object might have a color already, so you delete that object, delete that color material. And yes, Niket, you have a question? No? Were you all able to link?
Yes.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, typically in my workshops, everyone kind of struggles a little bit with this first keyboard shortcut. But if you all got it, that's exceptional. Got it? Good job, Inay. Good job, Surya. All right. That tells me you guys are paying very close attention. Perfect. Okay, so it's 11:25. Okay, we just have 5 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to show you something. There were some more things that I wanted to cover in today's session. Okay, unfortunately, we've run out of time. Okay, but what's cool is that whatever I wanted to cover, okay, is there in the recap video. Okay, so as soon as this session is done, okay, within 10 minutes, I'm going to send you the recap video on the WhatsApp group. Okay, you want to watch the recap video. In that, I'm going to talk a little bit more about camera and light. Okay, so complete the recap video and do the exercise. Okay, in the recap video, there is a exercise also. All right, so you have to do that exercise and post your work on the group. All right. Okay, unfortunately, we've run out of time, so I wanted to go through your work as well, but we'll do that at a later time. All right. Just for you to know, all of you have done the homework very well. Okay, so there's not much feedback that I want to give. Okay, just one piece of feedback which I'll give you right now, but before that, let me just cover something. All right, so now all of you guys have learned how to color. Okay, and you have colored in your shader editor, right, in the shading view. Okay, now let's just jump back into the layout view. Okay, so when I click on the layout workspace, my color has disappeared. All my hard work has gone. Where did it go? Okay, so you might be wondering that, right? So that's because there are a couple of viewing modes in your viewport. Okay, and these viewing modes are available up here. If you look up here in the corner, you can see there are these different circles. Each of these circles depict a certain viewing mode. So if I bring my mouse over it, you will see a text box appear, and this shows viewport shading wireframe. So if I click on that, look at that. My entire object becomes a wireframe. Okay, this is a viewing mode, right? It's important, these are important viewing modes that we will use a lot as we move forward. Okay. Now next to that is, if I hover my mouse, it's called solid. So if I click on that, this is what we are used to, right? The solid viewing mode. Okay. And next to that, you can see is called the material preview. So when I click on the material preview, there you go. Here we have our colors. Okay. Here we have our colors in the material viewing mode. Okay. And here one thing to note, there seems to be a light. Can you see the shadow is there, right? So this is what Blender automatically is putting. But note, there is no light in our scene. Okay. And I will make that clear right now. So in the material view, you can see your colors just like you were seeing it in the shader editor, in the shading workspace. Of course, that HDRI is not visible. You can see the grid. Okay. And you can see your colors with a light, because here you can see that a shadow is being cast. Can you see that? A shadow is being cast, but there is no light. How do I know there is no light? Because in my outliner, there is no light object first. And the next viewing mode is called the rendering view. Can you see rendered? When I click on that, you can see there is some color, but everything is dark. Now, why is that? Because we have no light in our scene. And the rendering view actually shows how your scene actually is, right? There is no light in this scene, right? And when the lights are shut down, this is what happens, right? You can't see anything, right? And so that's why the rendering view is like this. So we'll get into the rendering view. Right now we don't need to talk about that. Okay, we'll get into that. Okay, and in the recap video, all of those details are there. All right. So, so the material view, the solid view. Okay. So these are the different views. Nothing changes about your object. Object remains the same. It's just how it's viewed changes. Okay. Now, one more thing I want to bring your attention to. You might notice that your object doesn't look like mine. Mine looks a little better, right? You have these lines more clearer and all of that. Okay. And let me show you how to do that. So this is a viewing option. So in your solid view, okay, with your solid view selected, go to this little arrow. And when you click on that arrow, you can see a whole lot of options are there. Okay. For you, your object might be looking like this, right? And yes, Surya.
Sir, I have to go to school.
You got to go to school, right? So go ahead. All of this is there in the recap video. Don't worry about it. Okay. All of this, whatever I'm talking, is there in the recap video. You can go ahead and I'll send the recap video. Follow the recap video. You have today and tomorrow to complete the recap video and do your homework exercise. We will meet day after tomorrow. All right. Okay, Surya, you can log off. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye,
Now
sir.
that I was just telling you guys about this, let me just complete this. Okay. So here you have, you can see your object might look like this. Okay. All you have to do is come to this little arrow, and here there's something called cavity. When you click on cavity, you will already see your object looks a little different, right? And then you have to go to both. This type you have to, change it might be in just one. You click on both, and it gives you these 4 options. You need to increase the value to, full by clicking and dragging for all 4. And when you do that, you will have this nice view. This allows you to see your object in more clarity, right? In the solid view. Of course, this is not applicable in the material view. See, the material view looks different, right? It's not applicable in your render view also. It's only applicable in your solid view. But these options help you see your object more clearly. You can see the edges more clearly, right? And helps you model more clearly. All right. Okay, boys. So this brings us to the end of session number 2 of the Blender Kids workshop. All right. And today we have learned how to color and essentially how to texture and add materials to our object. All right. And good job. You guys have followed very closely. I went a little slow. I wasn't able to complete what I wanted to complete, but don't worry. All of that is there in the recap video. All right. Okay. So I'm going to send the recap video to you guys and just go ahead and complete it. All right. Okay. Yes, Yuvan, any questions?
Sir, what homework we have to do?
Yes, the homework is there in the recap. So what you need to do is you need to color this ice cream, okay, and you need to post an image of your ice cream, okay. And the next thing you can do is all the other models that you made, you can color them as well, okay, and use the same process. So in the recap video, I show you how to add a light. I show you how to add a background, I show you how to add a camera, okay, and render out an image. Okay, all of this is there in the recap video. All right. Okay, and it's very simple, nothing complicated, but if you have any questions, you can ask in the group and I'm always there. Right? Okay, and you have enough time from today to the next session. Yes, Kavish?
You told that you give us some feedback about.
Yeah, so I'm running a little late. Okay, there's not much feedback. The only feedback I have overall for all of you, okay, is that, some of you have, kind of send me images like this with your object to the left and very small and very far away, right? Whenever you are rendering an image or even doing a viewport preview, right? Rendering a viewport preview, zoom in on your object. Make sure your object is in the center, right? Make it clear, right? Absolutely clear. Like say right now it is in the center, okay? But if my camera is set like this and it's in the center, this is not a good view. You can't see what the object is, right? It's not clear what the object is, right? And something like this also, this is not a good view, right? So if you were to send me a view like this, I can't really tell what's happening, right? Or even if you were to send me a view like this guy somewhere out here, right? I can't really tell what's happening. I need to zoom in on the image and the image is not going to give me a clear picture, right? So always remember frame. So when I say frame your object clearly, this is what I mean. You have to frame it. Imagine this is your frame, your viewport is your frame. Your object has to be in the center, nicely framed and give a nice view like this. So now I can see clearly, right? And in the recap video, we actually create a camera. So the camera frame becomes your frame, right? And I show you how to do that in the recap video. So always remember to frame your object clearly and nicely. All right. So that was the overall feedback I wanted to give you. Okay. All right, guys. So that brings us to the end of this session. Okay. Let's meet day after tomorrow. And if you have any questions, I'm on the group and watch the recap video closely. All right. Okay. Bye, guys.